I'm a bit late to the party on this, but a few weeks ago 1.19 came out bringing mangrove swamps and frogs to the game, except they won't generate for thousands of blocks, meaning I won't have any frogs near my base. So today I'm going to make my own frog sanctuary so I can see these little guys right in my area. But before I can make the frog sanctuary, I'm going to have to find a mangrove swamp to collect all of the new materials like mud, mangrove wood, and most importantly, the frogs themselves. We're about 3,000 blocks away from home, so we should now be in 1.19 chunks, which means there's a chance of us finding a mangrove swamp. So I flew thousands and thousands of blocks in hopes of finding a mangrove swamp, but to no avail. I literally went like 15,000 blocks in this direction and could not find a mangrove swamp, so now I'm going to turn around and go about 10,000 blocks in this direction while checking 100 blocks to each side, just to make sure that I don't miss a mangrove swamp. So once again I set off flying thousands and thousands of blocks, but this time I actually managed to find a mangrove swamp. Here I've found a normal swamp, and from what I've seen online, mangrove swamps can sometimes be connected to normal swamps, so I'm just going to explore around here a little bit. Oh yes, there is a mangrove swamp here. Finally, my search is over. Now the first thing I want to do here is find some frogs, because I have brought some buckets and some slime balls to hopefully capture them. If I give you a slime ball and you a slime ball, they should hopefully make some tadpole eggs, I think. Oh yeah, there are. I believe they're called frog spawn in Minecraft, but they're pretty much just tadpole eggs. The frog spawn is gone from over here. Does that mean it's hatched? Yes, it has. I can see there is a tadpole over here. And then I continued to breed frogs and collect as many tadpoles as I could. Now that I've got all the tadpoles I'm going to need, it is time to collect up all of this lovely mangrove wood and mud. I've collected a decent amount of materials, but you can barely notice a dent in this swamp because it is just so huge. But nonetheless, it should definitely be enough materials. I'm sorry, but what? Let me just pause this. Look at this! This is the most insane village I've ever seen. This is actually crazy. It's got like little stepping stones floating all the way up to this main central area, and the villagers are just living here. Even though I've got all the materials I'm going to need from the mangrove swamp, I don't have all the materials I want to actually build it. And one of the main materials I want to get as well is a bunch of moss. But to get the moss, I'm going to need some bones, which means I'm going to have to go to the nether. And now that I've got all this bone meal, I'm going to go to a random mountain and spread as much moss as I can. That was 1 stack of bone meal, so now let's see how much moss I get out of it. After 1 stack of bone meal, I have gotten this much stuff, except I had 2 stacks before. So I got about 6 stacks of stuff, which is pretty good. So this should turn into way more than a shulker box, which is all I need. And now I've got a full shulker box of moss blocks, which should definitely be enough. And with those moss blocks, I've now got all the materials I'm going to need to build the frog enclosure. Except, I'm going to need to get some stuff to build the entrance. For the entrance, I want you to go inside a large statue of a Minecraft frog, and then that is how you get into the frog enclosure. So here, I have designed 2 frogs. This was my first one, and this was my second one. Now, I think this one is a lot better, so we're going to go with it. Except there's a problem, and that is that this is entirely made out of terracotta, which means we're gonna have to find a Badlands biome. Actually, it's not gonna be hard at all because I saved the coordinates of a Badlands biome I must have found. So now all I have to do is go there and collect a bunch of terracotta. And now I have got way more than enough terracotta and also a tiny bit of black concrete. And now that I had collected all of the materials to build the frog, I finished designing the entrance. And the last material I'm going to need to collect to build the frog enclosure is a bunch of wood, because I used all of mine in my last video when I built Stampy's house. And now that I've collected all of this wood, I've got everything we're going to need to build this frog enclosure. But before we can start building it, I gotta find a good location. I don't really want to build it anywhere too close to my house or this village down here, because I've got some future plans for this area. But just over here is going to be the perfect place. But this hill goes down too close to the cliff, so you won't be able to see the entrance, so we gotta clear it out. And then I built the entrance. There we go. I am very happy with this. I've done a bit more detailing with that little path there, some leaves, and also some more detailing with the logs, but overall I haven't really changed too much. But now that we have done the entrance, it is time to get started on the inside. And in here is where we're going to build the actual enclosure. But we're going to need to mine out a pretty large area, and I don't really feel like doing that, so instead we're going to make a bunch of TNT. But we're not going to need to collect the gunpowder because the creeper farm I made a few videos ago has been getting me loads and loads of gunpowder, so this is going to be way more than we need. But we're still going to need a decent amount of sand, so let's get to mining. And while I'm collecting this sand, I'd really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. That should definitely be enough sand. So now let's combine it with the gunpowder at my creeper farm to make TNT. And from that I was able to get 8 stacks of TNT, which is definitely enough. But now that I've got the TNT, I want to put it in the middle of this mountain and then light it up. And now this entire area is exploded, except it's really messy, so let's fix that. There, much better. But now that it's clean, I think I need to make the hole a tiny bit deeper. Oh my gosh, I was not even looking at the durability. It's literally on 10 durability. I could have broken my pickaxe. But nothing a quick stop at the pigman farm can't fix. And now that this entire area is dug out, let's start building the frog sanctuary. And there we go, this has now been completely transformed. All of the walls are now the mud from the mangrove swamp, and I also put a bit of moss in on the floor. I think I'm going to put some more on the walls as well, except you will probably notice that I have left the roof not done. And the reason for that is because I've got something that I want to do with it. I've got a specific block in mind that I think would fit this build perfectly, and that is the Skulk block. I'm just imagining that it looked like there was this nice cave and then there's a hole into the night sky, because the Skulk, when you look at it, really does just look like a starry sky. But before we can add that in, we're going to have to find a deep, dark biome.
X hours later.
Looks like we have come on an amethyst geode, which connects to a deep dark biome. I cannot see a shrieker, I believe they're called, the ones that spawned a warden. So I think we should be safe to collect some of this. I did get 2 stacks and 22 skulk, which I think should be enough, but I don't want to go back, run out, and then have to come all the way back here to get more. Oh, we found we found an ancient city. I did not want to find one of these. Okay, those are shriekers. Hopefully I don't summon the warden. Except there are one of these things. I think these are called catalysts, and they can make more skulk blocks. So I'm going to take that as well so I can get more from my home. Okay, I've got 4.5 stacks of skulk. Hopefully that's enough, but if worst case it isn't, I did get this skulk catalyst so I can get an infinite amount from my home. But trust me, we will be back to conquer this ancient city. Oh, and there's some diamonds over there. I don't think I spawned the warden. I was just trying to throw away some junk that I didn't need. I didn't want the warden to spawn. That actually scared me so much. I was just on my way back and I was flying over this warm ocean, which I'm actually going to need to finish this build. And the reason for that is because I want these sea pickles to put at the bottom of the ocean / pond I've got in there to light it up a little bit. That should be enough. And now I am back, so let's add in all of the skulk and sea pickles. There we go. That skulk does look really good, and it really ties together this entire thing. Except this is still missing one major thing. And that is the reason we built this entire place, the frogs. I've got my 9 buckets of tadpole from earlier, so what the plan is to take 5 of them to a super warm place and 4 of them to a super cold place, and then we bring them all here, and then we should have some green and white frogs, and then we're going to breed those together in here, and then that should give us my personal favorite, the orange frogs. But if I'm going to want to lead them from different biomes all over my world, I'm going to need a few leads. 6 leads should be enough. I've done a bit of research on the wiki, and I'm going to need to grow these tadpoles in a snowy peaks biome and a jungle biome. And the easiest way to transport them after I breed them is going to be on the nether roof. So I set off in search of these 2 biomes, and then my dog Rocket came in. And I've actually decided that for the cold frog, because all of the cold and frozen biomes are so far away from my house, it'll probably be easier to just do it in the end and then put them back at spawn. And now this portal should link up to the jungle. Alright, now I've got my little setup. I just need to grow 4 of these tadpoles up. Now I'm going to put all of them on the lead and put them through the portal. Okay, now I've got all of them, and it is so funny, frogs on leads. Just look at that. Look at that. We've now got our first 4 frogs in this area. And now I am going to breed these guys, and then they should plan some frog spawn. And then hopefully we should get some of the orange frogs. But while they're doing that, I'm going to go to the end to grow some green frogs. I haven't shown you guys this, but I have made a nice little portal on the nether roof that takes me to the stronghold. And now I'm going to wait here for about 20 minutes for these guys to grow. And all of the frogs have now grown up. So I'm just going to open this up and they should, keyword should, go straight into the portal. Now I need to get all of these guys on a lead before they escape. So now I just need to head back to my house. Oh, that's not good. And here we are back at the frog sanctuary with our 4 new green frogs. So now let's do a really awesome, super, mega cool transition to when all of these orange frogs are grown. And here you can see that all of these orange frogs have grown up. There is still a decent amount of tadpoles in here that will grow up, but for now, this is definitely a lot of them. But just standing here, something feels a bit off about this place. It just doesn't feel alive. Even with all of these frogs here, it still just feels like bland terrain. So I'm going to add in a bunch of these flowering azaleas, some glow berries around the edges, some candles, and some flowers. And I'm also going to build a few little frog homes because they need somewhere to sleep, and they're the whole reason I built this place. And with that, I would say that the frog enclosure is 100% complete. So if you like this build or enjoyed the video, then don't forget to like and subscribe because it means a ton. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Bye!